So I had a return missionary who befriended me, and he was the first person in the last year and a half of my life who asked me why. Why did you stop going to church? And I was like, I did not have any words. He invited me to read a conference talk, and then he invited me to pray.
I didn't know it was true, and I just kind of floated for a while until all of a sudden, it kind of seemed like out of nowhere, just this huge feeling came over me that I needed to tell my mom. And it was really spiritual for me because it was the first time in a long time that I felt like that was the Spirit. And I knew it was the Spirit. There was a doubt in my mind that that was what God wanted me to do right then.
Fui a mi cuarto y me arrodillé y pregunté a Dios. Cuando hice esa oración en mi cuarto, yo pregunté acerca de las cosas que me estaban atormentando. Y honestamente, no recibí ninguna respuesta acerca de ese tema. Pero lo que sí recibí fue paz en mi corazón. Fue tranquilidad. Un sentimiento de que todo iba a estar bien. Y eso era lo que yo sí sabía, que venía de Dios.
When I was reading the conference talk, there's just like this spark, and just feelings of peace entered into my heart. In contrast to what I had been reading, the contentment that I was feeling, I knew that everything was going to be okay. And that's something I hadn't felt in a really long time.
We were sitting at the kitchen table, and my dad pulled up the gospel topics page on LDS.org, and they weren't judging me, they weren't mean to me, they just asked me, what are your questions? And I would tell them one, and we'd look up what the prophets had to say about it. And that night is when I learned that there were specific sources that I could turn to find my answer.
You have to remember the times when the Holy Ghost really comforted you, because I've had times where I've struggled also, where I've had my doubts, but then I remember the times where the Holy Ghost has comforted me and been there for me, and that's not a feeling that comes out of nowhere.
It's not like after I came back to the church, it's not like those questions went away. Like, they're still there. However, the way I go about them is much different. I turn to the divinely appointed sources. I turn to prayer. I turn to my leaders. I turn to the words of Christ. I know that as I continue to turn to those sources, that I will gain more and more light in each and every day. The purest source lies within the gospel of Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ himself. He is the way, the truth, and the life.
We live in a world that is complex and increasingly contentious. The constant availability of social media and a 24-hour news cycle bombard us with relentless messages. Nothing opens the heavens quite like the combination of increased purity, exact obedience, earnest seeking, daily feasting on the words of Christ in the Book of Mormon, and regular time committed to temple and family history work. I promise that as you continue to be obedient, expressing gratitude for every blessing the Lord gives you, and as you patiently honor the Lord's timetable, you will be given the knowledge and understanding you seek.